Putting it down here. I'm going to plug in my headphones so that they are charging with the magnetic charger. There we go. Good. So that tomorrow I can do my hour of power again. Wonderful. Okay, cool. Well, welcome everybody. Today is Wednesday, May 31st at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's subject is going to be fantastic. But before we get into any of that fun stuff, what I am going to have us do is start with a simultaneous breathe. A simultaneous squeeze, per se. It's a breathing exercise we've been doing. So all we have to do is take a deep breath in through your mouth. You're going to squeeze and you're going to hold that air into your body, your chest, your lungs, and your head. And then you're going to try to squeeze with all of your might, all that air up into your head. And you can take your fingers and place them on your lips in a way to kind of go as if reminding yourself where you're trying to push that air out of, which is out of your mouth. Okay? So, ready? Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Maybe a little sip of air. Now hold and squeeze for 5 seconds. And you can do 10 if you want. And exhale and go, ah. Whew. Okay, wonderful. Great. So how's everybody doing? Good to see you all. We have a fantastic set of subjects for us today. So let's go down the list. Today is going to be a jam-packed video. It's going to cover a lot of different relevant subjects, some that have been very well liked in the Facebook group as of the last week or so. You'll notice the main area is going to be digestion, probiotics, gut integrity, and we're going to really talk about and remind you about the importance of the vagus nerve in maintaining gut integrity. It's very important. You guys like that breathing exercise? Good. Me too. It's a good way to kind of get us all grounded on the same level, same page. So first and foremost, we all know about the gut-brain axis. But did you know that the gut-brain axis is a very incomplete way to say the gut, vagus nerve, brain connection pathway? Because the axis really does in a large part refer to the vagus nerve and all those signals that go up and all the signals that go down. And guess what? A lot of those signals are on your vagus nerve specifically. Now, your vagus nerve has signals that do go up from your gut, from your intestines, from your stomach. And then there are also signals that go from your brain down through your vagus nerve, down to your stomach to signal the release of digestive acids, of digestive enzymes, of peristalsis, of the release of mucus. All of these processes are in large part controlled by vagal neurons. So you can tell that naturally, if your vagus nerve is messed up, then your digestion will be messed up. And as I like to say, no amount of flooding your body with good probiotics or digestive enzymes can fix upstream issues, which is, we won't get into this too much. And thank you, Jill, for saying, yes, gut health is flaring now and feeling awful. So you know what it feels like, and it's causing inflammation and cascades. But that's also why I make a really big point, especially with clients and people in this Facebook group, to focus on also your neck health. Because again, if your neck health is out of whack, your vagus nerve is pinched. And no matter how many of those good signals your brain might want to send down to your gut to kill bad bacteria, literally your vagus nerve can kill off bad bacteria if it's working. But if your vagus nerve is pinched in your neck, then what kind of luck are you going to have? Not a lot. So you do see a lot of SIBO and gut dysbiosis developing because the person's vagus nerve in their neck is all messed up too. So in that case, for you, Jill, and others watching who are like, oh my God, my neck hurts too, I'm going to share a resource in the chat as well for you and for Facebook and for YouTube. And it's called the Neck Strengthening Guide. And it's a practice that you can do on a daily basis. It's a great little PDF you can use, and you can start strengthening and repairing the muscles in your neck. It's built on physical therapy concepts, and it's really fantastic. How do you know if it's pinched? I mean, Most people have some degree of neck issues. Unless you can sit up straight for an hour without any issues, then you have a vagus nerve issue from your neck. I can almost guarantee it. It's almost like in America, it's like, how do I know if I'm overweight? It's like I could probably throw a dart in the air and land on someone who's overweight. And I'm just saying, in the US, right? So I could probably do about the same thing and say, okay, who here has a neck issue that could very well be impacting their vagus nerve? I would be like, again, I'm going to pull back the 98% figure. 98% probably are going to have some degree of a neck related vagus nerve impingement issue. And remember, when I say 98%, what you should be going on in your head is like, oh my God, 98% is a lot like 100%. So I'm probably not in the exclusionary category. And 100% probably also means me. Wow, that's a lot. 98% is like almost 100%. And I'm like, yeah, 98% is a lot. So yeah, you probably do. But again, it's not the only thing. And let's not get too off track, because the main thing we're talking about today is obviously digestive related things. But keep in mind that it's never just one thing in the vagus nerve world, given that your vagus nerve covers so much territory. It's in your brain, it's in your neck, it's in your body, in your core. It's not just a one, like, oh, just take this one digestive enzyme, you'll be fine. Oh, just, put your feet in a detox bath and you'll be fine. It's like somebody who's doing that is trying to pull something over your eyes, okay? It's never one single thing, okay? And there are better things and worse things to do to try to resolve this. And I would say what's the best approach here is to try to find something that you can easily combine together to get you better results. And you're like, well, even if you don't have neck impingement issues, the natural order of life is that the older you get, the weaker your neck gets, the more neck issues you have, and therefore doing something to protect your neck right now before it does become a bigger issue, I think would be a good idea. And the way you do that is by strengthening your neck. And we do a great neck strengthening document. We have a great free PDF that we share with all of our clients and with everybody in the Facebook group on making sure your neck is not hurting you, right? It's like, how do we remove the neck as a potential issue? Okay, so let's go into some digestive enzymes. What are digestive enzymes and how do they work? So your pancreas, which is located right in about the center of your body, has a huge amount of vagal fibers that go into it. Your pancreas regulates things like digestive enzymes that go into your stomach, that go into your intestines. Digestive enzymes help to lower the energy requirement for chemistry to happen. That's basically what an enzyme does. So if you have something like a carbohydrate from a plant, that the long starchy carbohydrates from things like unripe bananas or undercooked starches like potatoes, those types of carbohydrates are long, and your body doesn't have the kind of energy requirements to usually break that down. So something like amylase, which is an enzyme, which is produced in your mouth actually, and in your gut. Amylase is an enzyme that sort of floats around like a large protein, and it has little teeth in it, and it finds these long starches and it connects to them and breaks them down into shorter chained carbohydrates that then your own body can easily use as energy. So that's one form of an enzyme. And this applies to all types of things that you take. So there are enzymes for starches, for fibrous material, for meat, for fats, for other types of complex sugars. So there's an enzyme for basically everything that you eat. And if your body isn't producing enough of the enzymes that you need, then you can have food that is just sitting in your gut. And unfortunately, if your own body isn't producing the right enzymes that digest the food that you're eating, then what you're really doing is you're feeding bacteria further down your gut, further down in your small intestine, and maybe even your large intestine, your colon, that does have bacteria that can digest those foods. And oftentimes you find that those types of bacteria are considered to be bad bacteria, where they produce a lot of methane gas or sulfurous gases, okay? And that can cause gut dysbiosis. So what you typically see people doing is when they have things like SIBO or reflux or any kinds of digestive upstream issues in their stomach and their small intestine, anything that happens up here, or maybe they're just not getting enough energy. Maybe they're eating a lot of food, but they're not gaining weight. They're losing a lot of weight, or they're only gaining fat. Typically, that has to do with the food that you're eating isn't getting digested properly, and the energy requirements are not there to be able to maybe help those foods break down. It's really just about these small molecular chemical processes of splitting carbohydrates into smaller building blocks that your own natural healthy bacteria can eat. You don't want to develop the environment, the jungle in your stomach where it's only the nastiest machete wielding jungle slashing bacteria and enzymes can take on. So you want to, in a lot of cases, take some form of a digestive enzyme with food to help your own body digest the food better, to get more energy from it, to prevent your body from getting bad bacteria overgrowth. SIBO, basically, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, can be a result of not good digestive enzyme supplementation. So I would recommend, a good digestive enzyme. There's a lot of them online. So for some of our clients that are watching, that are in the Facebook group, remember we have a full script account that provides 35% off of all retail prices of any supplements on the full script marketplace. We just listed a protocol on there that's going to contain a few items, one being a really good digestive enzyme solution from Pure Encapsulations. So you're going to get 35% off of that. Also, we're going to talk about probiotics, prebiotics, and then also replacing your mucosal layers with phosphatidyl choline. So all those will be found in your full script account as a new protocol. So be sure to check that out later today. So this will help to explain what we're doing there. But if you're not in there, then you can still buy those at full retail price on Amazon or wherever you choose to get your supplements. So one thing I want to talk about before we talk about probiotics is the usage of vagus nerve stimulation alongside taking a digestive enzyme. One thing I think is a hugely underlooked or underappreciated or underexplored area of treating digestive disorders is simply not actually making a lot of changes to what you're eating and not making a lot of changes to your supplement stack, but just incorporating on top of what you're already doing, which a lot of you watching are probably like, yeah, I already have a nutritionist. I already am taking enzymes. I already do have a probiotic. I'm sure a lot of you are already doing those things, but if you're not stimulating your vagus nerve, which could also be impaired by bad bacteria, because look, your vagus nerve also is your immune system. So your immune system, your vagus nerve, is looking for bad bacteria, but bad bacteria are also very smart. So they know how to chemically trick your vagus nerve into letting your vagus nerve think that they're good bacteria. And so you're constantly playing a battle between bad bacteria assaulting your vagus nerve in your gut, tricking your brain into thinking that everything's okay and that you shouldn't go and attack the bad bacteria, which enables SIBO to continue on for a very, very, very long time, unless those specific aspects are addressed. So it's very important that you don't neglect this aspect of the vagus nerve specifically when it comes to bacterial and gut health. You don't want to neglect it. It's a very bad idea, to say the least. So what I would recommend in that case is, for our clients is to get the protocol listed in the full script, go take the enzymes with food, and then you're going to use the VNS device on your stomach and your pancreas. You're going to stimulate right below the sternum, right below the rib cage, and you're going to stimulate there for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds on a very low setting, okay? What that's going to do is that the specific type of VNS that we use for our clients is going to conformationally activate and jiggle and add more energy into those enzymes. Because it's one thing to add a cold room temperature enzyme into the body, but if you heat up an enzyme and you basically give it energy, non-electrical energy actually, for those wondering, is that you're going to see an increase in enzymatic activity, and it's going to start eating and munching and crunching those root ingredients that you're taking from food much more effectively and much more rapidly. So that is the protocol. That's what we want you to do as a program member. So you're going to be doing VNS after taking food with digestive enzymes. Now, the other things that we've included in the protocol, the one on full script, so we have the digestive enzyme, we have a probiotic. So a probiotic, we want to be very careful with probiotics. Now, see, this is a good lesson for everybody. There's this idea that I teach clients all the time, and it's called a systems approach to health, not a goal-based approach. And there's this beautiful, I'll explain that probably in length in some other video, but one thing I always like to take as an approach, because I hope what you learn from me, guys, listen, there's 23,000 potential viewers of this video in the Facebook group. Do you think I can fairly say, oh, just take this one specific supplement, and then how is that gonna work for 23,000 people? 20,000 of you probably be like, I've already taken it, or I can't take supplements like that. So it's less important. It's less important for you to it's less important for you to get like specific recommendations on supplements than it is for you to understand the thought that goes into why we would select these things. You follow? Like, why would I want to have you focus on your neck and also stimulate your vagus nerve? Because again, we're thinking through like rationally, logically, that you could, because the good news there is when we think like that from a systems approach, here's the core message that we're really getting across, is that if you are only limited to influencing your vagus nerve through just a pill, then yes, you probably need to get someone who is like an expert level pill person. And they have to be able to be so in depth with their knowledge on that single strangular domain of pills and supplements that you might find, oh my God, I'm really able to like very tenuously influence my vagus nerve through like the most expensive supplements with the most rigid routine. And, I found something that works. But anytime you build a health practice on something that is so like top heavy, that can topple over very easily, you end up with, that's where you're spending thousands of dollars trying to fix problems that can develop really quickly. So here's why it's good to have two, even admittedly lesser interventions that are corollary and complementary. Because anytime you have two complementary skills that are stacked together, like, look, yes, taking some digestive enzymes at again, if you're only good at supplements, you need to be 95% mastery level to be able to fix someone's problems. So you're going to go out there and find a doctor or a coach or whatever who's like, I am, the God assigned expert in this domain of just supplementation. And we're going to do everything we can to supplement with you properly. And you're going to spend a lot of money trying to find those supplements. you have to be 95% proficient. But someone who is 60% proficient in neck strengthening and 60% proficient in supplementation can oftentimes have about 150% chance higher than that one person in the middle who's only in supplements only. So you don't want to, again, don't put all of your eggs on one single landmine. Don't lay your entire life on the grenade of, this is a fixable problem because just supplements. So when you listen to me and I mention a specific supplement, don't go, aha, that's his secret. That's what he's really doing. I'm just going to go buy that supplement. Because oftentimes, as I said, neck strengthening and digestive enzymes can both coexist with a good beneficial practice for your vagus nerve. So what that does for me is that allows me to be able to provide, great coaching and resources for people at not $20,000, because I'm not trying to again, climb one shoot of bamboo to the sky on supplements. I'm able to go, okay, well, we can do neck strengthening, we can do digestive enzymes, and we can do VNS. You can stimulate your vagus nerve as well. So look at this as we're diving a little bit deeper into one area, but don't take this as I'm recommending this for every single one of you. If you're like, I've tried everything already in supplementation, doesn't mean that you've tried it with the other adjacent things either. So anyway, that's what I want to say before we go on. So for all the clients, you're going to want to use VNS on your stomach with the digestive enzymes that are found in your full script with the 35% off discount. So just, so Shar and, Shar and Lori and Amy and all of you watching on the replay. So, okay, good. So now let's talk probiotics. So what are probiotics? Probiotics are basically bacteria that are also kind of like enzymes that are a little bit more intelligent, so to speak. So a probiotic is just a more complex form of an enzyme that can do much more complex chemistry inside of its cell to help break down more complex sugars, etc. Keep the integrity of your gut good. So with probiotics, there are a lot of these really advanced probiotics that you'll find online on Instagram ads telling you, oh my God, this is the one probiotic that's going to really change your life. And again, those come from companies that only manufacture probiotics. None of the probiotics companies that I've ever seen also sell you a vagus nerve stimulation implant adjacent device. I'm not selling an implanted device, thank God, but a handheld device. And they're not telling you about neck strengthening either. That's not a priority for them, and it will never be a priority for them. And they'll probably never mention it because that just yes. Can it confuse things? Absolutely. And am I naturally going to lose some of you watching because you're like, I just came here for something simple. I just wanted one probiotic to take, not all this other stuff about my neck. What does the neck have to do with a vagus nerve? Come on. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, maybe we're not a good match. I wish you the best of luck. Truly, I do. I hope you do. I hope you're able to, I hope that your health path or your journey is served well by trying to be as simplistic as possible about it. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So for probiotics, there are a ton of them, but there are some classic probiotics that don't need to be wild and crazy and reverse engineered and GMO and manufactured in a lab where we know what they do. So lactobacillus is a probiotic that's as old as time. Rhamnosus GG is a fantastic, and it's literally the most studied probiotic on the planet. And also it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. I did have a client back in 2021 who was doing everything in our protocol, doing absolutely fantastic. And she got sucked into one of these ads with this slick marketing guy talking about your poop and probiotics and L-reuteri and how, this is the blah, 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 this one probiotic is magical, better than any probiotic. And it made her so sick. It put her back months. And I never recommended it to her. It's just a really good point to make, is that, we do things in a program for a reason. We want to be specific and measurable. We don't want to just load your body up with a bunch of stuff because you saw it on an Instagram ad. That's not a good way to do it. And so we were able to reverse the damage that this L-reuteri probiotic from some, poop company did. And we undid the damage. And yeah, Lori, you're right. There's a lot of probiotics out there. There's so many probiotics. I would say just try to stick with the old good ones that we know how they work. Probiotic supplementation is like trying to plant, you're basically trying to plant seeds in your intestinal tract, which constantly has food moving through it. And so trying to rush that process is just fraught with the cycles of digestive irritation, inflammation, constipation, diarrhea. You really do not want to risk it with probiotics, just throwing random, newfangled, the hot new super probiotic that you saw in an Instagram ad or a Facebook ad. That's just not a good idea. So my recommendation from a probiotic standpoint is to stick with the old school stuff, the stuff that is very affordable, well tested, high dosage. That would be like Rhamnosus GG. That's what it's called, RHAMNOSUS GG. That's an old school one. You can get a big ass bottle of that for like $10 anywhere. Also like Lactobacillus bifidum. That's another good one. That's an old school one, right? Yeah, Chris, you're right. There's one advertising for hormones, for ADHD, for Parkinson's even. And while, look, I'm completely open to the idea that some new probiotic is going to be the magical one. But again, why take the risk knowing what probiotics, look, some people are sick because they have, the probiotics are just the name they give to bacteria that you're eating from a pill. And it's the bad bacteria that could also be put into a probiotic and given to you, right? So yeah. Oh, and then great. So Michelle, thank you again for demonstrating this. She says, I introduced probiotics 6 weeks after SIBO protocol, and the SIBO came back much worse. I'm going to go slower next time. Right. I would recommend that. And don't, again, remember, it's that skill stacking concept. You can go slow because, like, I get it, and here's one thing I've noticed, because I do a lot of client work. I had a bunch of client calls today with almost all female clients. And one thing that sets women apart from men is that when women set out to do a program or start a protocol, they really just go all in. And I love that. I love that about working with female clients versus men clients, because like, I'm going to do just half of this and I'm going to do 5%. And if the 5% works, then I'll continue on. So that becomes difficult when you're talking about, like, there's three main things: stimulate your vagus nerve, strengthen your neck a little bit, and let's look at what you're eating, supplementary. But keep it simple. The stuff we do in our program from an eating perspective is so simple, but it's so beneficial when you incorporate the stimulation of the vagus nerve component, right? So anyway, so probiotics, stick to the old school, well-studied things. Rhamnosus GG is absolutely effective on the vagus nerve. It stimulates the vagus nerve positively, and it's affordable, and it's super well studied, and it's very safe. And it's not one of those probiotics that is, you're not risking cross-contamination with some, again, these up and startup guys. What regulations do they have in a probiotics factory? Guys, think about it. They're just growing vats of bacteria and then putting them into pills. When you're choosing a probiotic, you need to make sure that they are GMP tested, that these are coming from extremely clean labs, and just going for some superfood probiotic that you found on wherever is just, I don't think it's a good idea. Like, you should not be messing around with probiotics, truly. Now, another thing that I wrote in the description here is prebiotics. Now, I do think that prebiotics are a good idea. So prebiotics, I think if you can handle it, a normal good old banana is a good prebiotic. It's got good prebiotic fiber and sugars and carbs in it to support good bacteria. If you can have a banana, that's ideal. If you can't have bananas, then you need to look at something like FOS, which is fructo oligosaccharides. And that's basically just like, it's a type of non-volatile sugar that good probiotics generally like to eat. So FOS. And it's kind of sweet to the taste. It's a very flaky white powder, like a cloud. It's a very fluffy. So you can have FOS, and you can add that to a smoothie, or take it in a pill form with a normal, safe probiotic, and probably have better results than taking something else. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is gut integrity enhancement. So the reason that gut bacteria get so into your gut lumen and the lining of your gut is because the mucosal layer isn't creating enough of a barrier between the bacteria and the food flow, and then the lamina of your intestinal tract, in your small intestine, your large intestine. So there's a thing that you can take called butyrate, and that's a very affordable, very easy to source, very generally high quality supplement. Butyrate is a short chain fatty acid that comes from good bacteria doing what it's supposed to. So if you don't have the good bacteria, they may not be producing the SCFA butyrate. So you can supplement with butyrate. Now, I don't like giving dosing instructions for any of these, because what am I going to say? Take one pill a day? There's tons of brands and there's different forms of it. This is where, again, I would highly encourage you, from my perspective, you're going to be much better served if I say something like butyrate, and you go start Googling butyrate for gut integrity, for SIBO, for XYZ, and then you're going to find listed out protocols. And then those protocols are also going to say, don't take this though if you're taking an antidepressant. Like, there can be I want you to have to look up more than just me laying it all out for you here, especially in the live video with 23,000 potential viewers. It's just not a place where I can say, just take 2 butyrate a day. That's fine. Again, I'm saying butyrate. You go Google it and you look up what specifically, should you take it. You'll find that stuff so easy. You'll figure it out so fast. If you just know generally where to look, you'll have some good luck. So that's for gut integrity enhancement. That keeps the lumen closed up. That keeps the gut lining closed, because when your gut lining opens, then bacteria can get in. Now let's cover the last, and I think another very important aspect of gut integrity and health, which is that mucosal layer. One of the biggest, most important parts of a good gut lining is that you have a good mucosal boundary and barrier all throughout your intestine. Because in cases of like IBS and IBD, you typically find that people are pooping out a lot of their mucus. They're like, there's a lot of mucus, clear mucus in my stool, and that is leading to the dysbiosis and the inflammation of their gut. So I always wondered about that. I always asked myself, well, what is that made out of, right? Like, if you're losing clear, goo, this mucus from your body, then what do I have to eat more of for there to be more of that? And you could never find a really good answer. And there was just never really a good explanation of what is the mucus actually made of? because if I knew what it was made of, then I could at least try to supplement with it. But all I would see is say things like, take slippery elm root because it makes it slippery in your gut. And I'm like, but that stuff's yellow. That's not that. It's not that. And I looked it up and it's not. It's just an herb that's kind of slippery and slimy, which can help, but I want just my mucus. What can I just get the mucus part, right? So I looked into it, and after a lot of research, found a really cool protocol, and I'll tell you what that stuff is. It's called phosphatidylcholine. Phosphatidylcholine. I'm going to type it here in the chat so you can at least see it. Phosphatidylcholine. Phosphatidylcholine. So like that if you can see it, so I know you guys can see it. Just click a little like on that thing. I'm going to send that over to YouTube as well. So we got the people there who can read that. So they have the benefit of, Googling that. Okay, good. So you are saying that, Lori and Kelsey. Good. Okay, good. So phosphatidylcholine is what that mucosal layer is made out of. And it is that mucosal layer boundary that prevents bacteria, even good bacteria present in a gut that has very little of that mucosal boundary. Even good bacteria can start to infect and cause an inflammatory reaction in your gut. Did you know that? Yeah. So you might be taking good probiotics, but if you have no mucosal layer, which probably many of you watching probably don't have good mucosa, then you are now feeding bacteria that doesn't know any better, that it wants to go further into the mucosa and grab onto your actual intestinal tract. Because, guys, it's bacteria. And bacteria, as we know, has a mind of its own, so to speak. So it's going to want to get in there no matter what. Even if it's the best, healthiest, safest bacteria, if you don't have a mucosal lining, you're not protected, right? Yeah, right? Exactly. So Lori, you probably do need this. And Michelle, frickin' bacteria, LOL. Yeah, it's true. Even Rhamnosus GG, which is the safest thing to take from a probiotic perspective, could potentially seep in to your lumen, and then all your body is going to do is say, uh-oh, intruder, and start attacking with inflammation. And that's where your vagus nerve comes in, because your vagus nerve knows that if there's something bad there, it has to attack it and kill it. And that's where the redness comes in. That's where the inflammation, the bloating, the pain, all of that. That's where that starts to happen. So what I could never find for months of searching, I finally was able to find the answer. And so it's phosphatidylcholine is what is that mucosal, that's the building blocks of the mucosal layer is phosphatidylcholine. Now, how do you get phosphatidylcholine? Well, in most of your cases, I'm going to say you're going to need to supplement with it. Now, if you want it naturally, it's going to be found in large quantities in egg, like hard-boiled eggs or cooked eggs, spinach, and walnuts, which for a lot of you as well, those are highly reactive foods. So if those are reactive foods, then supplementation is probably going to be mandatory. So yes, Lori, you're right. Yes, it's on full script. So it's loaded on there now. Again, disclaimer time. You can buy phosphatidylcholine in large amounts on Amazon from a good quality brand called Solgar, Solgar. They come in the brown glass bottle with the gold cap. And the protocol for replenishing it, if you are really depleted on mucus, is going to be about 7 of the Solgar phosphatidylcholine gel caps to get close to about 3,500 milligrams of phosphatidylcholine per day, taken all at once, either morning, night, or whatever time of the day, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be food. With food, you have to take it with water, though. You take all 7, and that's going to basically go and start coating again your entire intestinal tract. You can only do that for about 7 days before you overdo it. You can take too much phosphatidylcholine. So that's probably the most preferable way. 1 big bottle of that, which will give you 7 days of replenishment, which I've seen in clients works really well. The only thing, though, is that phosphatidylcholine from Solgar comes from soy lecithin. So if you know you're sensitive to soy lecithin, then you need to go with something that's from sunflower lecithin instead. The only brand that I've found that can provide that is going to be phosphatidylcholine from Body Bio PC. Body Bio PC is Body Bio phosphatidylcholine, but it's really a Body Bio phosphatidyl complex, which contains about 1,100 milligrams of phosphatidylcholine and inositol. So it's going to include a couple of different items, but you need to take about 5 of those per day. And Body Bio is quite a bit more expensive than the Solgar option. So if you know you have an allergic reaction, then don't take the Solgar. But if you are okay with some soy, then the Solgar option is like $15 for that full protocol. Body Bio is going to be about $75 retail. Again, on the full script, if you're in our coaching program, you're going to get the 35% off. So go get that from Body Bio. So yeah, just all that alone, you could probably save about $100 right there from what you would have to buy retail if you use our full script account. So yeah, but basically phosphatidylcholine will replenish that mucosal layer. So let's go through the whole protocol all over again. So the probiotic digestive enzyme gut integrity plan for wherever you are, program or not, is going to be getting good standard old school, nothing new, nothing crazy, nothing viral. You know, if it's on TikTok, guys, if it's on TikTok and there's people going, oh my God, you have to try this new digestive enzyme probiotic mega mix. It's did amazing things for my gut. It's probably going to be bullshit, and they're probably doing multi-level marketing, and they're probably going to try to sell you into something. Okay. And you're going to be their downline for some new, some crazy detox protocol that really totally helped my aunt with her gout or whatever. So if it's on TikTok, be like, no, I'm going to go for something. I'm going to be boring and old school here. Okay. Not trying to go with anything crazy fancy. All right. Cause again, Michelle and Lori, I'm sure you two have seen the consequences of trying to do this fast with probiotics. So a good digestive enzyme that contains amylase, and there's just a lot. But again, the full script account has the specific one we recommend from Pure. It's just called Digestive Enzymes from Pure Encapsulations, and you'll get the 35% off on that. So that's the first one to use. Take with food. Then you're going to stimulate your vagus nerve after you've eaten. Stimulate right on the pancreas. Then you're going to do probiotics. Probiotics separate from this. You don't want to do probiotics with the digestive enzymes, because the digestive enzymes in the food could actually eat the probiotics, and you don't want that. So you don't want to make your enzymes eat probiotics as food, or vice versa. So take the probiotics like in a morning meal, morning time, with a light meal of some greens, some veggies, some bananas, something that's a prebiotic, like a smoothie. And no need to do stimulation of the vagus nerve with that. I do encourage morning time VNS as you meditate. So meditate, VNS, amazing combination. Helps calm you down, gets your HRV to go up a lot. And then for gut integrity enhancement, something like a good butyrate, short chain fatty acid, helps heal any luminal damage that's already there, helps to create the gut integrity effect, the locking in the glue between your gut lining. So butyrate is very, very, very important. And then the last one would be the phosphatidylcholine, either from Solgar, you just go to Solgar, Amazon, Solgar, phosphatidylcholine. I think it's 100 gel caps, size 00, so they're pretty big, but they're all gel, so they go down really easy with water, super easy to swallow, and you just do 7 of those per day, once per day, any time of the day, with or without food, and that's all you got to do. And then keep the rest for another time when you need to replenish it. And so this could work for things like SIBO, for digestive issues, But the thing is, like I said, guys, remember when I said about the neck, when Michelle asked, well, do you think I have any neck issues that could be affecting my vagus nerve? I'm like, I'd be 98% certain that probably you have some neck related issues that are most likely having a downward issue on your vagus nerve, meaning you could be pumping your body full of the best probiotics and the best digestive enzymes. But if your vagus nerve is pinched in your neck because you're not doing the red ball neck strengthening exercises, then what do you expect? Those signals from your brain can't get down to your pancreas because, again, ultimately we want you off of these supplements. We don't want you on them forever. Your vagus nerve can control the regulation of digestive enzyme release. But if your vagus nerve can't communicate, and you're not just going to see something like, it's never going to be just one piece of the vagus nerve that's not communicating. You're going to see things like, my blood pressure is weird, my heart rate is weird, my mood is weird, and my digestion is weird, and my breathing is weird, and my reproductive health is weird, and my hormones are weird. And it's going to be either some of those or most of them or some Venn diagram. It's never just one thing with the vagus nerve because it's all of those nerves in one small little package. And if it just gets pinched here, I mean, what do you expect is going to happen? It's going to shut off communication between many different functions. That's why this is such an important thing to get right. So yeah. And then, also, of course, stimulate your vagus nerve. However you go about that would be good. But for today's video, I think we're going to cover neck strengthening and supplementation for gut health. And this would work on probably GERD, reflux, SIBO, digestive discomfort, all kinds of things, because that creates a lot of inflammation in your gut, and that's going to affect your vagus nerve too. So if you're like, well, I don't have neck issues, but I have inflammation, I have depression, then some of the stuff that I talked about today could even help just because we're fixing some of the gut issues. So it's, for me, this is so fun because it's a very complex thing to look at. It's the endless problem. It's the greatest puzzle game I've ever played in my life. And I like chess and I like playing video games and I like strategy games. But for me, looking at this whole vagus nerve thing is literally been the gift that's continued to give. So I do enjoy that a lot. So anyway, good. So Michelle, good. Thanks going to look at the neck strengthening. Fantastic. Yeah, like I said, that video is, the PDF is linked there at the very top of the chat. I'm just going to put that in one more time for everybody. Make sure it gets over on YouTube as well. So it's called the Red Ball Neck Strengthening Guide. It's a free PDF. You click it, you open it, you get a red ball, and you start strengthening your neck muscles. It's very simple. Follow those instructions. I've had a little bit too many people that I feel comfortable admitting saying to me, oh yeah, I already strengthened my neck. And I'm like, well, what do you do? They're just like, oh, I take my head and I move it to my shoulder and I hold it there and then do it on the right side. I'm like, that is not at all what the Red Ball strengthening program is at all. So you need to crack that bad boy open. There are literally videos in there showing you exactly what to do, how to do it. Videos that I recorded myself during the quarantine in 2020 when I lived right next to the Facebook headquarters in Palo Alto, California, in Silicon Valley. And I had a special workout room and I had a video. And I said, here's what we're going to do on week number 1 with the red ball. You're going to take the red ball and you're going to put it against the wall and you're just going to rotate your body into the ball first. And you're going to do it on that side and this side. You're going to do 10 pumps into it. It's going to start strengthening the muscles in your neck. You're going to start seeing that the pain in your neck starts to relieve significantly. Like Shar as well. Shar has been doing red ball strengthening for such a long time and her neck pain's almost gone. So she's been following the instructions. I can only provide it. You guys got to follow the instructions. Okay. So good. Cool. Jill, let me read your question or your comment here. I was feeling that the other day, the endless search and most challenging game about the vagus nerve and the symptoms. Absolutely. it can absolutely be a complex subject. I 100% agree. But once you start to know some of the key things to look for, it becomes like, ooh, wow, oh my God, I didn't know that was why people smoked cigarettes, is because cigarettes contain nicotine, and it's called the nicotinic acetylcholinergic receptor of the vagus nerve. People smoke cigarettes because they're trying to stimulate their vagus nerve, right? That's an insight you get from looking at this kind of stuff. Oh, why do people smoke cigarettes usually when they're drunk and at parties? Because when you smoke and your vagus nerve is more active, you're more social. You can speak better. You can sing better. That's why a lot of smokers are singers. So you start to, again, there's a little bit of a barrier to entry, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Because you know what that does is it keeps out people looking at, like, again, trust me, how many you guys have seen me talk to people here in the chat who have just been like, when are you just going to give me the answer? I remember Kathy from, last Wednesday was just like, are you going to tell us what to do or not? Or are you just going to keep on chit-chatting? I'm like, we're chit-chatting about the most important thing in your entire body. So if that's too much of a barrier for you to go over, to emerge into a landscape of like, oh my God, it's a whole new world, then I don't know what else I can do here. All I can do is just show up and teach and provide real tangible resources for you. You guys can either use them or not. If you don't like the way that I talk about this and you're comfortable just like taking TikTok advice from somehow overly confident 23-year-old kid on TikTok who happens to have some good, yeah, I've got some pizzazz. You should listen to me because I took dance classes when I was a kid. So clearly I know what I'm talking about when it comes to my health, and I can totally make, recommendations for supplements. Then if that's your jam, by all means, TikTok's that way. I'm not going to do that. Okay? Yes, Barb, I am home. Woohoo! Yay. I'm now away from home and no red ball. Guess I'll just have to do the resistance thing with my hands on the head. Yes, so you can do resistance with your hands on your head. Now, it's not ideal. I wouldn't recommend it as the always all the time kind of thing to do, but you can put your hand here and you can kind of push in. But that's called isometric training. And that does very little for actually getting strength, and also does very little for reducing neck pain. So, I mean, it depends. Barb, how long are you going to be gone? You might, one thing you can do is in a car is if you have the seat there, you can kind of push your head back into the seat a little bit. But, so often I see people saying, oh, I strengthen my neck. I push my head back into the car seat. I'm like, do you do it on the left side, the right side, and the front side? No, you don't. And can you rotate into a seat? No, you can't. So very interesting. Very interesting. No, it's okay, Barb. Hey, I mean, you did probably bring your VNS with you, so you've got that going for you. There's always something to be happy about, right? There's no bonus points for finding the reason for a sad face, okay? Take that frown and turn it upside down. There's lots to be happy about. There's lots to be good and positive about, right? We don't want to create, again, let's not create the chain of negativity. Like, my red ball, I didn't bring my red ball. It's like, no, nobody cares. Like, you're going to get back to it. You're find an alternative. You go, but I did bring my yeah. And I did also bring my yes. And I've got that committed attitude to forge on. And remember, it's about the systems, right? You're too busy thinking about some goal that, like, these core, if I don't have all the perfect elements together all times, then I'm not getting my goal. And you can never get a goal, right? Yes, right? You weren't trying to be negative, but you did use a sad face. Okay, maybe it was a funny sad face, but again, I'm just saying, just couldn't bring everything with me. Wah, wah, right? But just think in terms of systems. Systems are like the way you escape all that stuff. You're like, oh my God, cool. What kind of systems can I do? And look, you already did it already. You're like, well, I guess I don't have my red ball. So maybe I can do my just normal isometric holds into my neck, which you can. And you can do those on the sides. Remember, we did that in the 3-day Ultra Vegas Within event where we did on the forehead and we pushed in, and we also did the back, So yeah, you have the tools, you have the skills, the resources to do them. Awesome. You already them. Hey, Barb, do this favor for me. Put a smiley face in there. Just whatever you're going to say, just give me 3 big smiley faces, because I think your emoji key is broken, because I'm seeing the upside down one for some reason, and I think that means sad. Do one where you're like that, okay? Give me one of those. Give me one of those big smiley. Everybody in the chat, give me some big smilings. Good. Well, do it. Put it in there. Everybody, do it. Let's get some smiley emojis in the chat. I love smiley emojis. They make me happy when I see them. Good. Awesome. Cool. So, awesome. Yay, Shar. Woohoo. And you can copy and paste those. Let's get them in. Come on, Barb. You're hunting. No stress, no pressure. Yeah, Kelsey, you got it. Good. Barb. Okay, yes, we got 6 super happy smiley faces. Woohoo. Awesome. Yeah. Good. Make sure that the only emojis that you can have in your recently used area are like, mine's a prayer, mine's the hands up, it's like the halo, it's like the hearts, it's like the heart blowing kisses. You can tell a lot about someone by the kinds of emojis that they continually use, right? Like you can see on their phone, if they try to send a message, what were the emojis that they just recently used, and it will show you all those. I'll show you mine. These are mine. I don't know if you can see them. These are my mostly used emojis. We've got some hearts, we've got some meditation, some love, some cold, some water, all kinds of stuff. Mended heart, all that. Super cool, right? Good. No worries, no worries. Well, hey, look, again, all systems, right? We just gradually build up into our machine, into our thing, a little bit at a time. And eventually be like, wow, I only think in terms of smiling emojis. And, that's just how everything flows in that direction. People are attracted to the happy emojis, right? I use those in almost everything I do. You see some of my posts. I'm like, happy emoji, smiley emoji, heart emoji, because it doesn't translate so well through text, right? My voice is a good translator of emotion, but we always want to get boom. You said you're just at the Gettysburg battlefield. That's awesome. Not a very happy place, but I'm sure beautiful. Watch a beautiful sunset. I'd put a pickup if I could. Can I do this here? With Facebook, unfortunately, I don't believe there's any way to do that, which sucks. But post it on your main page. All of us will see it. We're all friends, right? So you, me, Lori, Barb, Shar, we should all have, each other added as friends. So please post it. Please. Good. And then mine, Jill, you had wrote, mine are very similar: smiles, hearts, prayers, hands, and birthday emojis. That's awesome. And Lori adds that glutamine powder is good for digestion. I also agree with that. And look, I was not able to cover everything that you should be taking for digestion. I'm covering just some of the most protective things for pathogenesis of digestive disorder, right? So these are digestive enzymes, certain probiotics, prebiotics, butyrate, and phosphatidylcholine. These are almost on the medical level of treatment, just so you guys know, right? But I'm not making medical advice. Check with your doctor, all that disclaimer stuff that you need to say. Just pretend I just said all of that, okay? All right. So anyway, thanks so much for watching on YouTube. We love you, YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you liked this video, so that can help me not have to sell you really dumb supplements. I won't have to have a sponsored segment for thanks to our sponsor today for blah, 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 blah. So, again, a like goes a long way over on YouTube. Thank you so much. And I'll end the stream there. And YouTube is over. Okay, cool. Now that YouTube guys are